You're listening to A Midlife Less Ordinary, the weekly podcast giving you the lowdown on becoming a cool older dude. The good times are not a faded memory. It's time to start living them again. And here are your hosts, Wayne and Trev.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of A Midlife Less Ordinary. My name's Wayne, and I've got my favourite bit of nostalgia waiting to say hello. Trev, how are you doing?
I'm looking back, thinking back to the good days. The good days. Do you remember them?
Yeah, well,
it's good, isn't it?
You saying I don't have any now?
Do we have some now? Apart from doing this, really. I don't think we do.
No, well, I'm glad you said that, though. I'm glad you're enjoying it again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've already got to.
But it was a good link, mate. That was a good link. And the reason he's saying that is because today we're just going to have a chat about why we need nostalgia. Why is nostalgia more important the older we get? It seems obvious, doesn't it, Trev? But, you know, talk about what you get from nostalgia.
Well, I think it's a trip back to when you didn't have a lot of worries. When you're an adult, you know, you've got all these worries, mortgages and, you know, and then, but back in the day, do you think it's a young thing? Do you think, I don't know if it is. Do you think it is? Do you think you only think of it when you were
There's definitely something
younger?
About older people retrospectively saying how great their younger life was. And I don't know if it's because we've forgotten all the bad things or we were, as you're saying,
I think
you do forget a lot, don't you? And it's because you're not being funny. I mean, how good were the times in the First World War? But you always used to get the old grannies saying, oh, yeah, the times were much better then. You know,
the good old days.
Because people were more friendly or whatever reason it was.
Do you think that's because you're banded together kind of thing? Because people seem to think that when they look back on the good old days, they seem to think it's because they didn't have a lot and you know. So do you think if you have more, you take it for granted and don't really care about it?
That is really true. I believe that is true. The psychology of that works because it's easy to take stuff for granted. And it is true that the most important things in life are the most basic things, your family, your friendships, and the integrations you have with those people throughout your life. And I think what happens is when people get serious in their life is, you know, their children, work and everything else, then we start thinking back to them times when we were a little bit more carefree because you didn't have them concerns. I mean, you do, as you get older, everything is a bit more difficult, isn't it? You've done everything you really want to do in life. We spoke about it before, Trev, didn't we?
And to be honest, things are harder to do when you're a bit older.
Yeah, they are. They are more physically demanding.
Exactly. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but I think that talking of physically demanding things, we mentioned last week that we were having a night out of the boxing.
We were.
Which we were. We didn't make it, did we?
No, it is not our fault.
It's not our fault. The guy that was supposed to fight was a complete wuss and didn't bother doing it. So
what we say to you is clown of the week.
Clown of the week. But what we could have done, we could have gone down there and watched people fighting that we don't even know they were. But it didn't seem like a lot of fun. And not only that, boxing's not my thing. And
it was cold, and as we're talking about, we're old, and the cold gets in your bones, and you get arthritis and all this old crap. And we thought, Strictly Come Dancing's on, you know.
And the money all went to charity anyway. It wasn't going
the money still went
pocket.
for the tickets. Trev put in
we feel like we did our bit.
Exactly.
You know, we did. So
the intention was there.
I hope it was a good night.
But you know, just for the record, if you're going to organise a charity event and put yourself forward for boxing, do like a 16-week training camp and encourage people to donate money. Do the bloody thing, for Christ's sake. Please do it. Turn up. But again, funny enough, you say that, Trev, and it wasn't a link I thought about beforehand. Boxing takes me back to certain times in my life, you know, because your dad liked boxing, my dad did, and I'm sure a lot of people's parents like boxing. And if you think of certain fights, it takes me straight back to that time. I remember the Frank Bruno ones, when we were at school, you know, against first ones against Iron Mike. We were about the third, fourth year at school. I remember it straight away.
Yeah.
And then later on.
And the funny thing is with that as well, that's the only reason I say I quite like boxing. Although I say boxing is not my thing, but I love old school boxing because it makes me think of sitting there with my dad and watching my dad get up and thinking he's Rocky Balboa off his armchair. That's the thing. Yeah. That is it. But the new modern stuff I couldn't give a toss about.
No.
But that old school stuff,
But
I think as well because it was readily available on normal channels.
Yes.
You have to pay for it.
That
I know I get on
definitely
this all the time. Does.
No, but it
Everyone
is true.
saw it.
Everything was accessible. If you wanted to watch cricket, it was on the BBC. If you wanted to watch boxing, it was on at prime time on a Saturday night. And we could all, as a country, sit down and look. Now we're doing so many different things because there's so many choice. We haven't got a lot in common anymore. I think that's a lot to do with it.
I'll tell you what, the example I'm going to say is really bizarre. And if I just went, fame,
I'm going to live forever. I could do the whole one.
Everyone watched it at school, didn't they?
Yes.
Everyone.
We all wore pop
I think it was
socks.
on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Everyone, Bruno Martelli, that was his name, wasn't it, with the curly hair? The thing is with that, everybody watched it on Thursday night. Same as Top of the Pops. Everybody watched them. Yeah, so right. Friday, they used to be honest, nostalgically, those bands are on Top of the Pops were made because of Top of the Pops. Because when Frankie Goes to Hollywood were on there and they did the come, that, everyone saw it. Everyone, didn't they?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they all talk, and we all spoke about it at school. It was now, as you say, there's so many channels. We're all watching different stuff. You could tell me a program, I've never even heard of it.
No, that's right. Well, it's a bit like you and your TV reviews recently. I've never heard of half of this stuff.
Exactly. I bet honestly, you've never heard of one of them I'll talk about tonight.
All right.
This is what I'm saying. Too much isn't good for you sometimes.
So the nostalgia is disappearing. Give you that. Is this why people love all this this sort of Tropicana nights and things like this? Because it takes them back to the 80s, especially from our era, obviously.
And the other thing is movies, music, a lot of other stuff, all digital stuff can be deleted so easily.
Yes. Yeah.
When you bought it and owned it, you had it there. You could think that's shit, that I can't be bothered with that. But then when you actually listen to it again, it grows on you. Now, immediately you think it's crap. Get rid of it. Free some space up on your hard drive.
Too easy. Everything's disposable. And it's a bit like games, isn't it?
Gonna go?
If you've got too many things to do, too many films to watch, what happens is you get 5 minutes in and you're not really... I remember, this is a good example, when Blockbuster Video was around in Southend, I used to live there, I used to love going there on a Friday and a Saturday night, and you'd look through for hours. That's part of the fun of it. And you'd look through, read the thing.
There that you see, didn't you? You'd meet people there.
Because I like martial arts and things, and I was getting these martial arts films. I'd never heard, and I'd look if Bolo was in it or something like that,
Exactly.
And I wouldn't care. Do you know what? And if it was crap, I wouldn't care because I've paid to watch that, and it's the only film I've got. I would sit there and watch it all the way through. Now, if I'm sitting there, I've got so many movie channels. I'm sitting through, and not interested in that. No, and it's really hard to get interested. Then you've got all these other distractions like phones and everything else. You just all get. It has to be really good. You have to really want to see something, didn't you, to give it the attention?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if, like, young people will look back and have nostalgia, will they?
God, yeah, I suppose they will. It's always going to... I mean, I suppose the older generation said that about us when we were young. I guess there will be. They'll have something. I don't know what it'll be, but, they don't have the same kind of experiences we do, but they'll have their own experiences, whether they'll be online or whatever it is.
What do you reckon, right? What do you think, in your honest opinion, is the biggest nostalgia sort of selling thing? I think it's video games. People love old video games. People like old films.
That's why I've got an arcade machine.
Not as much.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying. That's the thing. I think video games is the most nostalgic trip. I really do. The films, music, but I can't. I'm trying to think.
Movies
really
are as well, man.
Fashion.
You've only got to look at the Karate Kid remakes, on Netflix and things to see how big that's got, and all the Stranger Things stuff and all of that got big. Mm-hmm. There's definitely all of that media is all part of that nostalgia trip.
Music wise as well is where they use samples of older songs.
Yes. Yeah.
And I tell you the track I was listening to the other day, I was having a discussion with a guy at work about the band the Doobie Brothers, and he was like, I don't think I've ever heard any of their stuff. I said, you have? He was like, no, I don't think I have. And then I played the sort of new remix of Long Train Running.
Yeah.
I said, that's the Doobie Brothers. He was like, oh, is it? And then we started looking at their other stuff. Like, obviously, I know a bit about them anyway.
Didn't you tell him about the Sugar Babes using Sting's, every...
No, well, They weren't higher money. They never wanted knickers, that band, did they? Or did they? That's all they.
I know you used to go on about this. I remember actually when we were actually younger and we used to see that.
Yeah,
you're talking about the elevator one. I know exactly what video you're talking about. This is how sad. This is my nostalgia trip when Trev mentioned something from about 30 years ago, and I remember it so clearly and vividly because I know what a perv he was. Yeah, he said she weren't wearing any knickers. Look in the elevator.
Exactly. Yeah. So they must be saying about elevators and women in knickers that obviously.
But you could watch like an Alice Cooper video and they didn't have anything on, but that weren't good enough. No, you'd have to watch something where there's a bit
banned,
of.
Didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Poison
got banned, didn't it? Yeah, he did. Yeah, but you're right.
Good old days.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, but again, there's nothing like that, is there? When stuff was banned, it was like everybody wanted to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it gets banned. All you got to do is go on YouTube because someone's put it up there, or find it somewhere else. You can't not find it anymore.
You can't not find it, no. But we've all got our own favourite nostalgia. Actually, at the end, I think what we do is we'll recommend a few of the bigger nostalgia trips that you can take. That we recommend from our own experiences, Trev. But I think now it's probably that time of the week where we go for the AMLO Weekly Wipe. So, Trev, we're going to do things a bit differently. So, we're getting a bit fed up with Boris Johnson, COVID, and politics and things. And, that's not what
we're getting a little bit too panorama.
It was, I thought we was doing rather well at it and, sparked debate and everything. But I thought we'd go a bit more offbeat. In keeping with the AMLO traditions, we'll go a bit more offbeat. So, I'll just mention a few of the recent news articles that are a bit offbeat, a bit different. And the first one I'm going to mention is Doug. I don't know why he's called it Doug, but Doug the mutant spud could be the world's heaviest potato at nearly 8 kilograms.
You know what? I've just thought, before you go on about this, talking of nostalgia, this makes me think of Esther Ranson, and that's like...
Oh, yeah, when they used to have them think they did, that's nostalgia.
A potato that looks like a cock. Remember that? That was national TV television.
Oh, yeah, you remember that one, didn't it, out of everything.
You can funny that. Yeah, carry on.
Traditionally, a potato from Britain has been in the Guinness World Record holder since 2011, and that weighed 4.9 kilos. But a small farm owner weeding his garden got a giant surprise when his hoe, and that's not his wife, struck an object beneath the soil surface.
Dug it up.
Yeah, his hoe dug it up. At first, Colin Craig Brown thought he might have some strange fungal growth. I think he's talking about his private
his
parts,
wife again.
Yeah,
exactly. He put his hoe to dig it up. He had like fungal growth. It's like
it's all a bit cliche, this one. But after digging it out, scratching the skin surface and tasting it, he realised it was a monster potato. We couldn't believe it, his wife Donna said. It was just huge. This is all innuendo. It sounds like a carry-on film. The couple from New Zealand believe the potato itself is self-sown and may have been growing for a couple of years or more. They are waiting to find out if the spud, weighing 7.8 kilos, qualifies and has made it as the Guinness World Record holder. That's big news. And, get the new Guinness Book of Records.
Why would they think it hasn't qualified? What's wrong with it?
Maybe it's not.
It is a potato.
When I saw the picture of it, because obviously I can't show people this on the. We can put a picture of it on the website, I suppose. But and on the social media. But it looks mutant. It's got loads of. But it doesn't look like a normal potato. It's got balls all like weird. It looks like an alien. I don't know.
Is he a potato farmer?
Yeah, he's a small farm owner. But his hoe was digging in the ground and just thought, what the hell's that? But I haven't got any more facts. We should get him on, I should think. We should interview him.
Should get him on, yeah.
We should get these are the sort of people we want.
Yeah, what made you taste the mutant spud?
I think there'll be less innuendo in this story, though. What about this story, then? But Morgan Freeman interviews police recruits in Alabama town. Freeman joined the 7-person... That's not the Seven Dwarfs before you say anything like that. Freeman joined...
Morgan Freeman
he wasn't in pantomime at the Cliffs Pavilion in Southend. Freeman joined the 7-person panel to interview 9 potential recruits to the Gulf Shore Police Department. The 84-year-old actor helped to question 9 potential recruits... I've already said that, haven't I? Those who turned up for their interview were shocked to find that Morgan Freeman was involved. The department often includes law enforcement experts and civilians in its screening committee. And Freeman, who is originally from Mississippi and owns property in Gulf Shores, knows people who have worked with the police force. Deputy Chief Dan Nettermeyer said that it was kind of last-minute thing. He was an active
I bet it was.
participant. He had a hat on and he was kind of sitting back. What's that got to do with it? When he introduced himself, it was almost like an old candid camera scene, Mr. Netmayer added. While
I've
some
got
of
this
the
image of Morgan Freeman sitting there with an old copper's hat on. The kid with the rubber band
I don't think he had
round
a
his
copper's hat on. I think he had just had like his own Panama hat or whatever. But it'd be funny if he just started sitting there, going, hello. I say, yeah, not like you do in America. But
no, it'd be cool.
while some of the recruits may not have recognised Freeman, they would have realised who he was when he spoke. The hiring process is not complete, but some of the recruits interviewed by Freeman will be offered the jobs. What the hell is that? So we could get people like who could we get in? Scott Adkins to do interviews for working in builders merchants, couldn't we?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, can you imagine turning up for a job interview and like Michael Caine sitting there? Just crying like he did in Batman.
You got the job, sir.
But what? Yeah, why would you? I don't know.
It's America for you, though, isn't it? Only in America that could happen.
Yeah, exactly.
If you imagine if you walked in somewhere and you had Dirty Den like Leslie Grantham sitting, oh no, he only sits on the other side of Zoom calls, doesn't he? I was like,
to be honest, he should be in jail. He's dead now,
no, God rest his soul. Yeah, we bet. Oh, you're allowed to say what you like about dead people. That's fine. It's all right. It's no libel.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Yeah,
there's right. No problem there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you reckon they thought they were being interviewed by God, like Bruce Almighty?
Yeah, that's a good point. They are religious in the South as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they must have thought, oh Christ, God's on this panel. I better get this right.
I'll tell you what, this last story reminds me of us, to be honest. Good. This last story, Trev, and this one's going to be crowned. A Turkish man who was reported missing unknowingly joined search parties looking for himself. Local media report that Bayram Mutlu, who lived in Enegel district of northwest Turkey's Bursa province, was believed to be missing on Tuesday. He had wandered away from his friends in a forest while drunk, according to the Daily Sabah website. His wife and friends reported him missing.
Is that real?
I looked it up. This is all true. His wife and friends reported him missing after they were unable to get in touch with him for several hours. Mr. Mutlu later joined a group in the area who were helping the authorities search for him. When members of the search party began calling out his name, he replied, "I'm here." The authorities then took his statement before driving him home. He was unclear whether he will face any penalties or not for basically wasting police time. So I'm going to give Mr. Mutlu this great pleasure of being Clown of the Week. that is the sort of thing you could do, that, man. You could.
If you were looking for someone, the first thing you'd do, or I would do, is want to see a picture of him. And you look at the picture, and then you turn around at the group that all look at it and you be like, that's you there, isn't it?
The way I kind of got, it hasn't gone into any more depth of detail, but the way I was kind of envisioning it, he sort of fell asleep in the forest, like drunk, which I can imagine, it can happen. I don't know what they were doing.
We can all relate to that.
And he's woke up and there's probably people near him and you think, oh, what's going on here? And he's sort of like, oh, we're looking for someone. Oh, okay, I'll join in with that.
And just join in.
And then somebody said, Mr. Mutlu. And he's gone, I don't know why he does that accent. I don't know why.
It's good, I like it.
But he's gone, I'm here. And then it's just sort of come to pass like that. I don't know for sure. But
if you'd been walking about in this forest, all muddy shoes, wet, and the bloke did that, how pissed off would you be?
You wouldn't be very happy, would you? If it was like today's weather, I'll say,
exactly.
Stormy and everything else.
And you were like out there going, and next minute you're like, what?
Yeah, so that sums up the AML. I hope you like the new AMLO weekly wipe, Trev, with that many facts. So hopefully I'll have some more for next week. Yeah, you like that, yeah?
Yes.
So I think what we do, because I know you can't wait to actually get on with it, because you want to tell me these programs that no one else knows.
Yes.
So we'll get on with the AMLO stream review, Trev. As you're already aware, Trev, the best thing to come out of Ireland since Phil Lynott, and I think you've got something to talk about that, haven't you?
I have got something to say
But
yeah,
we've
I've got something to say
just to
there.
preview that Jordan Dennis, the best thing to come out of Ireland since Phil Lynott, the vocalist and
Who's
guitarist,
guitarist?
who has his single King of the Strings. He's releasing his second single very soon, and he's promised to give us an exclusive preview of the track, and we'll have a little chat with him in a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to that.
Superb.
So yeah, leading on to Phil Lynott, Trev.
Yeah, this isn't my stream of the week, but as we've spoke about Irish musicians, there was everyone who listens to this and knows me. I'm a massive Thin Lizzy fan, and I've been waiting to see a documentary called "Songs for While I'm Away," a Phil Lynott one, and I couldn't. I subscribed to RTE; it wouldn't play. I've been after it for ages. Saturday night, it was Thin Lizzy night. They had two programs on, that one, and they had a sound and visioning concert from the Cold Thunder and Lightning tour. Anyway, honestly, this program was brilliant. I sat there. Obviously, I know it all anyway, but it was brilliant. So hopefully when Jordan comes on, I can have a word with him about that, because I'd like that. And that took me back. That's what made me feel nostalgic. Obviously, you know. Yeah, more nostalgia. Brilliant. That was great. But yeah, we'll go ahead on your stream of the week, mate.
No, you start, Trev. Sorry, that was the next addition. Yeah, go on, you go for it.
Something on Netflix, because Netflix have all of a sudden, because of the success of Squid Game, which I've only seen the first one still, have decided that everything Eastern, Korean, Japanese is cool. So they're just going to buy everything else they can and push it out there. Actually, I was recommended this by one of the artists had been on the show, Dave Nevard. He came in and see me, and he said, "Have you watched a program called Hellbound?" He said it's crazy. So he described it to me, and basically, before you die, you get a prediction that you're going to die, and you get an angel. 3 angels of death come down, and basically beat the hell out of you.
Nice.
It's so bizarre. But then so you got to run from them, you can't. But then you get these kind of cults that follow it about. People don't believe it because he's caught on someone's mobile phone. And it's just madness. It is an absolute, it's pretty good. I must admit, I'm enjoying it so far. It's quite bloodthirsty. Yeah? Oh, definitely. Yeah, because it's mad. I don't know how this sort of Asian broadcasting networks come up with these ideas, how their writers come up with it, because it's so bizarre. You get this sort of vision of God up here telling you when you're going to die, and if you've sinned, then these 3 guys come and take it out on you and just beat you to a pulp before stealing your soul and taking you to hell. Nice. It is a very strange program, but it's definitely worth checking out.
The concept sounds
definitely.
a bit different,
I like
at least anyway.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's good. Not bad at all.
At least we're recommending it. That's a good start.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm going a bit more right field, I suppose, compared to violent Korean TV shows. I'm going back to Christmas. So this isn't one I would say for the the midlifers, but if you're now grandparents and or your children are still young enough, there's a movie streaming on Sky Movies called A Boy Called Christmas. It's adapted by...
I haven't seen this yet.
Well, I don't know if it's your sort of thing. It's really sickly sweet kind of Christmassy movie.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? It's adapted by a children's novel. It's a story. An ordinary young boy called Nicholas sets out on an adventure into the snowy north in search of his father, who is on a quest to discover the fabled village of the elves, Elfheim. Taking with him a headstrong reindeer called Blitzen, funny enough, and a loyal pet mouse, and who's voiced by Ricky Gervais's mate, who
Stephen Merchant. I saw he was involved.
Yeah, sorry.
That's why I thought I might watch it.
Yeah, and he's good in it, as you can imagine. It's basically an origin story of Father Christmas. It's made for audiences from 4 to 94, little ones watching with Nan on Boxing Day in front of the telly. Everyone's a bit drowsy on Quality Street. It's that kind of movie, full of charm and Christmas chill. Well worth a view with the kids. I'm not saying it's one for you, Trev, but if you're feeling really Christmassy, it is nice. I
do get like that.
It's not comedy.
I do get like that.
It's not comedy. No. It's got its moments in it. It's got Jim Broadbent in it, the normal kind of people you get in them kind of movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's a good 7 out of 10 Christmas movie, but a sickly sweet. If you're having a night and I'll turn Trev's sound off now. But if you're watching a film like, what's that film with Kate Winslet and
Jack Black?
Yeah, that one. I know you hate it. The Holiday. That's it.
I had a misfortune to actually catch some of that last night. Honestly, the film makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
It makes me feel ill.
I can understand why people would love it if you're in a certain mood. You know what I mean? And this film's a bit like that, but as far as Christmas movies go. So that's my first. And save it for Boxing Day with Nan if you've still got your Nan and you're lucky to.
More syrup than a Christmas pud.
Exactly. More syrup on me too. My hair keeps going this way. But you carry on, Trev.
Right, this one I only discovered today. Actually, it's very short on the Disney Channel, and it will run. I don't think you might even know about this because you would have mentioned it. I think Under the Hood. Is it Under the Helmet? Oh, that sounds great, doesn't it? Under the Helmet: The Legacy of Boba Fett.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I think I have seen it. I think I've seen bits of it. Yeah, it's got
21 minutes long. Very much so.
Yes.
Very good. It actually completely sums up how us old Star Wars fans feel about Boba Fett.
Yes.
It actually mentions that the reason he was cool was no one knew anything about him. He only I think it said he only actually had 6 minutes airtime on the film.
And look at the impact he's made.
And look at the impact. He had four lines.
Yeah.
And look at the impact he had. And they were saying as well that it is tattooed. Yeah, exactly. And they were saying as well, he wasn't designed to look like that. He was actually the first costume tryout. He was white. He was supposed to be a super stormtrooper. He was all white.
Yeah, that's right.
And they didn't like it. So they went and they just painted him exactly how he appeared. And the poncho was actually supposed to look like the Man with No Name from Sergio Leone's Clint Eastwood movies.
Yes.
And he actually had, and I didn't ever twig this, and I will watch it again, but they actually were going to give him spurs.
What, the football team?
Yeah, well, I'd have been down with that. They actually put the sound on when he walks in to the Bespin bit. Yeah. Honestly, it was, but they do at the
Star
end.
Wars is a space western, isn't it? So it makes sense.
Well, again, this is it. And and to be honest, that 20 minutes took me right back, and it really confirmed that somewhere out there are people like us that just yearn for the old school Boba Fett mystery. Who was under the helmet? Yeah. Exactly.
Boba Fett definitely evokes as nostalgia.
Oh, terrible. Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole ethos of him with the figure, with the rocket fire. I know we spoke about this before, but honestly, this program was ace. Jeremy Bulloch, didn't really audition or anything for the part. His agent got it, and they thought it was just going to be in the background.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he was so popular, next minute he earned a living out of doing conventions. His wife was involved with convention. Yeah, honestly, it's a great show. Really was good. I sat there, loved every minute of it, apart from when they mentioned we tried to carry his legacy on with Jango Fett, and then they mentioned the Mandalorian where he comes in, give me my armor. All pants, to be honest. But yeah, for the 17 minutes or 15 minutes when they actually spoke about Return of the Jedi and Empire, Boba Fett was great. Loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's definitely one for the people we spoke about a lot about Star Wars, and there's one for you out there. So definitely. What's that called? Under the Helmet.
Under the Helmet.
Good stuff.
Helm under the helm.
Yeah, I knew it. I thought that might be coming. And my next one is, it couldn't get further away from Boba Fett, but it's another kind of criminal. And this one is a Netflix movie, and it's starring our good old friend who's been in the film that a friend of the show, Richard's been in, and that's Craig Fairbrass. So you know what you're going to get.
You love this man.
Do you know what? He can act, but he's stereotyped into. He was in London's Burning. He was in Cliffhanger. He was in that. Do you remember he was in that?
Yes, he was. He was.
That's in the early 90s. Yeah. I mean, so he's getting on a bit. It was. But he's been typecast as this sort of Essex, East London gangster man, and he's quite fit. He's a big old lad. Yeah, and do you know what? And when I see him in things, if I'm in them, I know we don't necessarily like these kind of gangster films, but if I see him in something, and he's always very good at what he's doing in it, you know what I mean? I can't really knock him for what he's doing. So this film's called Villain, and it stars Craig Fairbrass as an ex-convict.
This isn't a remake of the Richard Burton one, is it?
I don't know, actually. I didn't know it was a remake. I'll tell you and see if it rings a bell. Eddie Franks leads a reformed life. But in his attempt to help out his drug addict brother, he is forced to enter the world of crime once again. And he comes out of prison. You can see that they're trying to set their stall out. This is when you can tell it's low budget because he's in prison. They're letting him go after however long he's been in there, and he's friends with all the prison guards. And he's going, "Look after your sister, look after your mother," that old stuff. It's basically making him out to be a nice guy because you know what's going to come is he's going to turn back into a he's going to
drag it back in, drag it back into him. Yeah, exactly.
And basically, his brother's a little weasel, be looking after his pub, and it's the most grimiest pub. It looks like some of the pubs we used to spend some of our younger life in. Or on the seafront in Southend.
Definitely.
And his brother done drugs and got involved, owes money and everything else, and he gets drawn back in looking after his brother, so he has to go on a revenge mission. And so basically, it's a lot of violence and CUNT, But
really?
Do you know what? Because I actually wanted to watch something where I didn't have to concentrate. I put it on, and it actually passed an hour and a half, and I enjoyed it. And I was doing other stuff, and I still enjoyed it. And I'd give it a 6 out of 10 if you like those kind of Rise of the Foot Soldier things, and then kind of East End gangster films, and you like a bit of violence, a bit of shanking, and all that kind of thing.
Bit of shanking.
Watch Villain because you'll be in your element for sure.
What I like about it is his name just like Craig Fairbrass, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Fairbrass. I'm Fairbrass.
But to be fair, if I looked like him when I was his age, I wouldn't. You
don't look far off him, to be honest, I don't think.
He's about 63, isn't he? I was like, cheers, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Thanks for no. To be fair, to be honest, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't mind not looking. Keeping myself. Yeah. He still play in the film that I watched that Richard's in. He playing somebody like 25 years younger than him. I mean, you can see by his jowls that he's I don't know why I was pulling my face down then, as if anyone can see. You can, but
as I watched it, I was like, "Oh, you got your gels on." Like, look at these.
But you could tell. But that was a nice, diverse AMLO streamer review of the week, wasn't it?
I can imagine. Yeah, it was, man. Yeah. So, didn't expect that coming.
Coming back to the nostalgia trip, Trev. I'll just recommend some nostalgia that people can enjoy that we've enjoyed, and maybe if you enjoy it, but apart from the normal going to the 80s club nights and things. I mean, one of the best things I enjoyed was a few years ago with you. One of the last things we probably did in that kind of vein, really. I'll let you mention the other one, but we went to one of the last ever sort of older reunion nights at the nightclub in Southend, Talk, didn't we?
We did, that was cool.
It was a really good night. It had Baby D on there singing Let Me Be Your Fantasy, and it was full of sort of 35, 40, 50-year-olds having a really good time. It was packed out. I can't believe the place was closed. Talk nightclub was one of the biggest nightclubs, around Essex and everything. It's gone now. It
was rammed, wasn't it?
It was absolutely rammed. They had hand magicians going around talking to you.
I'm quite a good hand magician.
Hand puppets, more like. But it was a really good night, and that was a nostalgia trip. But there was another one that we went to, Star Wars related. I don't know if we've mentioned it before.
Yeah, Secret Cinema. I'm a big fan of these.
You've done a few.
We did the Empire Strikes Back one. That was our first taste of it. So it was a real eye opener. We didn't know what to expect.
We didn't know that they're going to treat you like you're some sort of slave from Tatooine.
Like you're at Star Wars boot camp.
Yeah, it was.
Like moving boxes and stuff.
Pick up their boxes, move them over there. I thought, I paid like 130 quid for this. I don't want to lift boxes.
we were trained as like rebel soldiers, weren't we?
That's
at first.
Yeah.
And then we went on to the Tatooine bar and the cantina was good, wasn't it?
Very good.
The highlight of that for me was when the X-Wing flew over.
Yeah. That was really good.
That was great. I've done a lot of others. I've got tickets for another one, which is a kind of bizarre one.
Go on.
And go on.
It's going to be not
Dirty Dancing.
No, man, I'm down with that. So I'm not going to laugh.
Learn how to dance. No, I'm going to learn how to dance.
You're going to do the thing that, you can. Well, you can lift me up.
Going to get it. Yeah, because I'm not going to be put in a corner. Basically, so I'm gonna slim a bit down again, put the old tight black trousers on, get out there with my white shirt on, So that's the next one. But I've been to a lot. I went to the Stranger Things one. What other one? I think the Blade Runner one. The Blade Runner was out of all of them. As much as I enjoyed the Empire, the Blade Runner one was
Ghostbusters
superb.
has got one as well, haven't it? I think
but that's online, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
It's online. Yeah, because I went to do that one. The only one I've missed, which I really, really wish I would have done, was the Back to the Future one.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that.
In the earlier days, they did the Shawshank as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which would have been cool.
There's a few I've missed that I'd like.
The Moulin Rouge one, I didn't bother. Romeo and Juliet, obviously didn't bother. But yeah, honestly, the Blade Runner one, what really was cool about that, they had everything there. They had the eye shop, the whole lot. And the best thing about
the
Roy
Blade Runner one,
they did have Roy Batty Boy there, yes. Yeah, he was present. Yeah, he was looking batty. To be honest, the best thing was the rain. They did rain inside.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was brilliant. They were asking you to take an umbrella, and it would just, when you were actually walking around LA, it just rained. And honestly, it was phenomenal.
That film set the scene for so many different movies since then, and they still look like that, dude. Now, even up to date movies still don't look as good as they did in 1982 or whatever it was.
No,
it's amazing.
No, exactly. Yeah, it is. The timeless, man. It's timeless. Absolutely timeless.
So there you go. Secret Cinema. Trev's just let slip that if they've still got tickets, Dirty Dancing. So take your missus to that. She'd love you forever.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah,
we love you long time. But you get.
Oh dear.
Yeah. That's from a film as well. Brownies. Full Metal Jacket. That's from that.
That is. Yeah. Alabama Bush Snake.
But it's true. But actually, me mentioning that is the new Ghostbusters movie out. I know we're not talking about movies now, but that's a nostalgia trip as well, isn't it? Really, for a lot of people.
Top Gun too.
Yeah, the Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun film. I think it's guaranteed to sell. That's why, isn't it?
Yeah.
People will they're all over it. Yeah, I want to see the Ghostbusters movie. I know a couple of people that have seen it said it's quite good. They said it really does rely on the nostalgia trip of it. Obviously, I'll be all over it because Paul Rudd's in it. Yeah. But I don't think it's had the impact they thought. I think what ruined that was the female one, which I didn't think was that bad. But
I wasn't a fan.
The trouble is, once they ruin that legacy, it's difficult to get it back, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they has caught because obviously the people involved in it and everything. I think they have captured that. From what I've seen of it, they've captured some of the kind of magic of it. They're never going to be the same, is it? But again, the best way I can say about getting your nostalgia trip on is when we're allowed to, and while we are allowed to still, get together with the people you've known for ages, because we don't do it enough these days. I know the people we have school reunions sometimes and other such events, but get together with people you know and just have a few beers and talk about things you used to get up to,
or watch something or something.
Yeah, watch something together that you like, or like we're talking about movies. We've had some good times just sitting there with a few beers and watching movies. Empire Strikes Back and finding things we'd never seen before. Enter the Dragon, finding a whole new Mandarin language we'd never found before. Finding that Bruce Lee was saying a wee wah woo at some point, and he's talking in English in that. So I don't know what. There was no excuse.
I don't know what. I know what our excuse was, but we can't say it.
No.
But yeah, that's it. I think there's a lot to be said.
Yeah,
you infuse kung fu movies. Give me a real taste of nostalgia. Yeah. Kung fu movies and samurai movies. They really take me back. Music does. Music's the biggest thing for me. As I said about Thin Lizzy, I've been going back and listening to a lot of old sort of hard rock and heavy metal lately. Couple of bands
music
like
does take you right back, man, doesn't it?
King's X, loved it. Yeah, and there's nothing like that. No. Especially if you've seen the band live a few times, it takes you back to what you did then. And honestly, as Wayne says, I tell you the other thing that I think one of the biggest nostalgic trips that will hit this Christmas is the new Matrix movie. I know we've mentioned it before, and I've just seen the second trailer, and it looks good.
Yeah, we were a bit older then, but still, I used to think when that was out, that was in 1999, I believe. So that's 22 years ago. I was still in my 20s, and I still didn't think of my mortality at that time of my life. I didn't think about anything. I didn't worry about anything. As long as I had enough money to buy a beer on a Friday night, that's all I cared about. And I agree with you. And I love the Matrix, as we've had this conversation before. I'm not sure. I didn't like the other two.
Tell you the other thing.
What's that?
To get away from films about nostalgic, football.
Yeah.
Football's very nostalgic.
It is.
Football kits, old games, very nostalgic. There's nothing, to be honest, I think there's nothing like, if you haven't met someone before, but they like football and they're a bit older, is talking about old football matches. Yes. It seems to revive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said. And as soon as you see an old football kit.
Yeah, definitely.
You're like, I had that one of those. You know, it's like, unbelievable that. That really does make you feel nostalgic.
Sometimes you're right. You do Big Match Relived or whatever it's called. Sometimes I catch that on. And I think like some of them are like, I think back, and some of them are in the 70s, and it looks so old. And I think, Christ, I was still like 8 years old or something. You know, it's mad when you think about it. That's when you realise your own mortality. But as I say, we've still got some time to enjoy ourselves. So get on that nostalgia trip, everyone. Still keep living that midlife. And if you've got anything to say, if you want to be a guest on the show, you've got anything to say, if you want to review us or anything else, go to amlopodcast.com as you usually can. Please, leave us a message. We'll be glad to hear from you. And that's about it for this week, Trev. You have a good week. Thanks for joining us as usual.
I'll look back on this fondly, I would have thought.
We'll look back. This will be our nostalgia trip. Yeah, you can play this at my funeral. And we'll see you on the next one.
The music as you're being dragged down the aisle.
And I'm going to have the AMLO outro, basically. I'm going to have this. So here it goes.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please leave a rating and review and visit our website at www.amlopodcast.com to check out all the links and resources in the show notes. Start living them good times. See you next time.